Yashida has dinner with the girl of his dreams. He is engaging in a plot staring contest, and Irie thanks him for taking her out. He builds up the courage and asks her if she would like to be his girlfriend. She apologizes to him, telling him that she's seeing someone. Yashida hangs out with his friend, getting angry that he's been rejected and wishing that she would have just said she's dating someone. He is ready to cry, thinking she stole his heart while she was just dating someone else for the last 5 years. His friend tells him that he will head home because it's getting late, and Yashida walks home alone, angry at Irie. As he walks, he sees a girl sitting underneath a lamppost and wonders what she's doing there. He calls out to her, asking her what she's doing at this time, and telling her to go home. She tells him that there's no trains, and he asks her if she's going to be sitting here all night. She smiles, asking him to stay at his place and calling him Mr. He asks her what kind of girl would stay at a place of a man she's never met. She tells him that she has nowhere else to go tonight and has no money to stay anywhere. He asks if he's supposed to let her stay for free, but she says that she'll let him develop plot if he lets her stay. He wonders if all girls are like this now, but realizes that he's just met a weird one.
What the hell?
Telling her not to say that even as a joke. She then tells him that he should just let her stay for free then. She goes inside his apartment and realizes that it's filthy. He thinks that he shouldn't get involved with her or try to learn anything about her because it's not his problem. He will just kick her out in the morning. He goes to bed, ready to sleep, and he tells her she can do whatever she wants. She begins removing plot armor and asks him if he's sure he doesn't want to do anything. He tells her that he won't repeat himself and that he's into older women.
What? What the?
She asks him if she can do anything for him, and he tells her he would want miso soup made by a woman. He falls asleep, and she sits alone, thinking about what just happened. In the morning, Yashida wakes up and realizes he's late to work, but then remembers that it's just Sunday. He smells something and hears the girl telling him good morning. He asks her what a high school girl is doing in his house, and she tells him that she asked him to stay and he let her. He rejects the idea of this, but she tells him that he definitely did. He asks if he did anything to her, worried that he may have developed plot last night. She stares at him, scaring him but then telling him that she's just joking. She tells him that he kept refusing plot development, and he's glad he was able to stay strong. She prepares him miso soup, and he tells her not to make miso soup at a stranger's house. She tells him that he's the one who asked for it, and calls him Mr. He tells her to stop calling him Mr. and to just leave. She asks him if he really doesn't remember anything from last night, and he wonders what she's talking about. His memory begins coming back to him, and he remembers her wearing black plot armor. She calls him Mr. again, and asks him what his name is. He tells her that his name is Yashida, and she tells him that he looks like a Yashida. She then tells him to eat the food already, and he tells her not to tell him what to do. She tells him to eat it before it's cold, and he tries it, realizing it's good. She asks him if he would have preferred Irie preparing it, and he wonders how she found out. She tells him that he was saying her name throughout his sleep last night. She sits next to him, asking him if she could make him feel better. He tells her that she needs to stop, and that he doesn't need her to make him feel better. She begins developing plot, saying that she has big plot. He is dumbfounded, but thinks Irie's are bigger. She asks him what cup size is Irie, and he tells her that they're F cup. She tells him that she's an F cup, and he wonders how she's that big, and she tells him that Irie might be a G or H cup. He thinks that he wishes he could have felt those H cup plots just once.
Oh my god! Wow!
She asks him if he wants to feel her plot, and he asks her why she's trying to seduce him, and he asks her what her problem is. She tells him that she wants to ask him something, and she hugs him, asking him why he's refusing a girl wanting him in front of him. She tells him that he's the one who isn't normal, because she's never met a man who was able to turn her down. He grabs her, calling her stupid, and asking for her name. She tells him her name is Sayu, and realizes that she gave out her real name. He asks to see her student ID, and sees that she's from an extremely far place. He asks her when she left her house, and she tells him 6 months ago. She tells him she's sure her family is happy without her. He asks her how she's going to survive if she's not going home or to school, and she tells him that she'll find a way to stay at someone's home. She tells him she would find another place, and he asks her how. He gets frustrated, telling her that she should work. She tells him that she can't pay rent just with a part-time job, so he tells her to live with him. He gets up, telling her that he'll knock the stupid out of her and calls her a stupid brat who doesn't know what things are worth. She cries, and he wonders why. Why wasn't she able to have a normal life and a normal love like every other teenager? He tells her that her first job will be doing the chores around here. She tells him that it sounds like she could stay here forever, but he tells her that she can only stay here until she's done being a runaway. He thinks that this would be better than allowing her to go around and get seduced by other men, but that he must be careful with his words so she doesn't get comfortable. He tells her that she can stay here until she stops being a brat, and that the next time she tries to seduce him, he will kick her out. She agrees that she'll stop, and thus began a new chapter in their life. At work, he tells his friend about what happened after he left. His friend warns him, telling him it's risky, and Yoshida knows that it's dangerous. He heads home, wondering if she ate anything, and remembering his friend's words telling him that he shouldn't get too attached to her. At home, she's preparing food, and Yoshida enters inside. She tells him, "Welcome home, Daddy."
Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there.
And he tells her to stop because it's gross. He tells her that he brought her bento, and begins to undress. He sees that she ironed all of his clothes, and he thinks that she's good at doing chores. He asks her where the ashtray is, and she gives it to him washed. He gets up to smoke outside, and she asks him why he doesn't just smoke here. He says that it's because she's here, and she calls him nice. She tells him that no other guy worried about her when smoking, and he gets angry, wondering why she's getting all her values from those guys. He tells her that he's not nice, but all the other guys were just shit. He tells her to have standards for herself, and she tells him that she understands. He wonders why he's the only one looking after her like he's her guardian. He thinks that the whole world's full of awful people, and that includes him, because he's giving her a place to stay and letting her continue running. He wonders what he should do. The next morning, she wakes up and walks off, and Yoshida hears that she's in pain. She walks next to him, and he realizes that she's been wearing the same clothes every day. She tells him that it's the only thing she has, so he decides to take her to a mall. She tells him that it's fine and he doesn't need to do this, but he tells her they're going to buy her clothes and a new mattress, because she wakes up in pain every morning. She tells him that if he does all this for her, she won't know how to repay him. He realizes that she's not trying to be modest, but is instead refusing all this because she can't repay him. He wonders why a kid would think like that, and he tells her that he's busy, so her doing chores for him would be her form of repayment. He thinks that it should be enough of a reason, and she tells him that she's okay with that if he is. She goes home and thinks her new mattress is comfortable, and that she'll sleep great tonight. She asks him if he would like to sleep with her and gives him a smirk. But she tells him that she didn't say anything weird, and that he's the dirty one for thinking of weird things. She laughs, and he thinks that she's cuter when she laughs like this. She thanks him, and the next morning, his friend tells him that there's a rumor that he's got a new girlfriend. He tells him that he's cleaner, and all his clothes are ironed. He's looking better and going home early, so all the girls think he has a girlfriend. At home, he thinks that Seiyu isn't his type, but she happens to be cute and is responsible, so he wonders why she would run all the way from her home to Tokyo. The next day, she asks him why he doesn't shave his facial hair. He tells her that he's lazy, and she wonders why he only shaves it sometimes. He tells her that he only does it when it gets long, because it makes him feel old. He tells her that he thinks getting too lazy to shave your facial hair is when you get old, but she tells him that his facial hair doesn't look good on him.
You're a victim.
He looks in the mirror, deciding that he will shave his hair. At the mall, he buys her more things that she needs, and asks her if she has a phone. She tells him that she doesn't, and she tells him that she actually just threw it out in the ocean. He tells her that she's dumb, and that he would want her to get one because he would like to contact her. She tells him that she really doesn't need one because he got her moisturizer, and gives him a smile. He looks at her smile, feeling like it's forced, and wonders if it's truly from the bottom of her heart. They head home, and she asks him if he will be able to read all the books he got. He tells her that he will on the weekends, but that she could also read them if she wanted to without spoiling them for him. He then realizes that she's sitting sadly, and she is about to ask him why he is so, but cuts herself off and tells him it's nothing. He tells her to spit it out because he's curious, but she tells him to just forget it and starts fake laughing. He thinks that she's doing that fake smile again, and he tells her to stop forcing herself to smile. He tells her that it may not be her home, but she's allowed to live here, so she doesn't need to act weird and lie to him with her smiles. She comes and tells him that she was going to ask why he's so nice, and that he's nicer than anyone else she's ever met. So if he wants her to stop acting weird, then she will. She tells him that her fake smiles are just a habit of hers now, and that it'll take time, but she will try her hardest to stop. He tells her to take her time, and she thinks that he's really nice. She tells him that nobody's ever given her this much freedom or choices before, and that she'll try to make him think that he's glad she came to his life. He begins laughing, and he tells her that she's pretty kind too, and that he's looking forward to her working hard and expects great food. She tells him she won't let him down, At work, he calls Mishima over, telling her that her code's buggy and they can't sell the project. He tells her that they'll have to stay late together today to fix their work. Airi notices their interaction. They spend all night working together to make sure it works, and Yashida brings her food. She spreads her sticks apart and puts his meat in her mouth. She tells him that she wants to ask him about something, and tells him that he's been shaving his beard every day. He asks her why, and she tells him that she's heard he's got a girlfriend recently. He tells her that those are all rumors, and that he's just been rejected recently. She asks him by who, and he tells her by Airi. She tells him to stay strong. He tells her he doesn't need pity. But she tells him that she's not giving him pity, but that she actually feels lucky, and that they should get drinks soon. At home, Seiyu is angry with him for being late, and tells him that she even prepared him food. He apologizes, and she starts laughing at him, telling him that she was just joking. He tells her not to tease him, but she thinks it was funny how he apologized politely, and that he should just eat the food tomorrow, and he thinks that he really does need to find a way to get a hold of her if he's late. At the phone store, his friend tells him that he should have asked her what color she would have wanted. He tells him that she would have definitely refused if he asked, so he needed to buy it without asking her. His friend thinks that he must really like her, because he wouldn't care so much about the design otherwise. Yashida tells him that she's a girl, so she would care a lot about the design. His friend tells him that it means he cares if she's happy or not and that it's good to be nice, but that he must be very careful dealing with her going forward. He tells him that he should be careful or she will settle in or fall in love with him, or even worse, he might fall in love with her. Yashida tells him that it's impossible, because he would only like older women with bigger plots. His friend laughs, telling him that the safe option would be either black or white. At work, Yashida keeps checking the time and fidgeting, but his friend tells him that he should calm down because he'll just end up staying late otherwise. Airi comes up to him, asking him if they could talk later. His friend tells him that he figured their meeting outside, and that once she rejects him, that's when the relationship really starts. He enjoys his dinner with Airi, and ogles at her giant plot once again. He builds up the courage, seeing her chew down on the meat with her tongue. She asks him if he's nervous, and our man chokes because he's a smooth chat. She tells him that they can relax by asking each other questions, but they must answer each other's questions. He asks her a question, and asks why she invited him here. She asks him if he's dating someone, and he tells her that he's not. She calls him a liar and tells him it's obvious. In the 5 years she's known him, he's never gone home early, and has always looked like shit.
No! God, please, no! No!
But he's been heading home early recently and ironing his clothes and cleaning his facial hair. She asks him if he's been close with Mishima. He tries to clear up the confusion. He tells her that he's been working for 5 years but has only been in love with her, and that he still feels this same way because she's special to him. He asks her why she even cares because she already turned him down. He tells her that she shouldn't care if she doesn't like him, and she tries to come up with a reason. He doesn't buy her excuse and tells her that he doesn't have a girlfriend. She asks him if that's all, and he asks her if this is the only reason she asked him to dinner. He tells her that he wondered if it was something more important, and she tells him it's important. He looks at her eating meat, and she tells him that she'll let him ask one more question. Our man builds up the courage for the most important question in all of humanity, and asks her what her size is. She leans in, telling him that she's icup. He heads home, thinking that Airi is definitely not into him. He enters home, and Seiyu tells him that he's late again and asks him why he has a sad look on his face. He tells her nothing, but she's not buying it. He tells her he went to dinner with Airi. She asks him if it was fun, and he tells her it was, but she tells him that he wouldn't be sad if it was fun. She asks him if he would like a hug, and runs and hugs him. She asks him if a hug made him feel better, and he tells her it did. She tells him that he smells like shit, and that he should go shower and forget about all the bad things. He thinks he's pathetic because he's being cheered by Seiyu. He drinks his miso soup and opens his bag, giving her a gift. She takes it out, seeing that he bought her a phone. She asks him why he did this, and he tells her that it's because he wanted to get a hold of her. She asks him if she can really have it, and thanks him for getting it for her. She sees he got her a white case, and she tells him that she likes white. He tells her that he's glad, and she tells him that they should add each other. He remembers his friend's words telling him that he might fall in love with her, but he thinks that it's impossible, because he thinks of her as a little kid he has to take care of. She sees he added himself as Yashida man and tells him that he's her only friend. She tells him that this is just for him, and smiles at him. He wonders what that smile was, because she wasn't just trying to force it or make him happy. It was wholesome, and he felt like she meant it, but realizes that he doesn't get teenagers. Seiyu dreams of the nights she would develop plot with strangers, and wakes up sad, looking at Yoshida. Yoshida leaves for work that day, and she wonders why he doesn't want to develop plot. He sits with Miss Hima, and someone comes and asks him why he turned down a business trip. He asks him if there's a girlfriend that's stopping him from wanting to go, and Miss Hima asks him if he does have a girlfriend. The two begin asking him why he turned down his business plans, and he tries to tell them there's another reason. He tells them that he was expecting a package to arrive in the next 2 weeks. His friend leaves him, telling him he won't continue bothering him, and Miss Hima decides to kick him because that's typical f***ing anime logic. Later on, she asks him to go to the movies with her, and while I personally wouldn't go, Yoshida decides that he needs to teach dumb Irie a lesson for rejecting him. At home, Seiyu wonders how long she would be able to stay here with Yoshida. She realizes that when Yoshida finds himself a woman, she will end up being kicked out like all the other men. She worries, thinking he'll find a girlfriend soon, and wonders if he'll develop plot with his girlfriend. She gets a message, opening it and seeing that he'll be at the movies. She looks at the fridge, wondering if he'll be with Irie or another girl. After the movie, Miss Hima asks him if he enjoyed the movie, and he tells her that he liked it when the professor said something about only realizing an encounter is destined for fate after it happens. They continue having some boring philosophical conversation that no one gives a shit about, and Seiyu is running. Yoshida asks Miss Hima if she's had a fated encounter, and Miss Hima laughs at him. She tells him she has, and he stops, seeing her stare at him, telling him she won't let it go. He tells her to do her best with that, and she leans in and hugs him. Seiyu sees this, getting sad, and leaving. He pushes Miss Hima off of him. Miss Hima thanks him for going with her, and he thanks her for coming. She asks him what he'd do if she's the person he's fated to meet, and he tells her to stop being stupid and to go home. And as he walks home, he wonders if it was fate that he was able to find Seiyu there. He enters his home, saying he's back, but Seiyu doesn't respond. He sees that she's not home and her phone is still here. He begins running, wondering if someone kidnapped her. Yoshida runs away, and Seiyu wonders what the look on his face was, that he's never done that with her. She thinks that she shouldn't care at all, but begins crying. She wonders why she's crying, and thinks that it can't be happening, realizing that she's jealous of a person she doesn't even know. If you made it this far, you're a true plot legend, so let's all confuse the fake fans among us by spamming Rip Yoshida's friend. He was a real one. That'll definitely throw off all the fake fans. If you want to see what happened to Seiyu, make sure you blow this video up with likes. Till next time.